G'day Bomber fans, our 2024 fixture released. I'm quickly filming this before bed, so get ready for a tired, low effort, low quality upload. I'm just going to go through the fixture on face value, talk about it game by game, may as well. Let's just get into it. Alrighty, so fixture 2024, here it is. Let's go round by round, and to make it fun, I'm going to give each game a juice scale. If it's a good game, it's juicy. If it's not, it's not. That is the scale. Very well thought through, and I didn't just come up with it now. So Hawthorn round one, I like this. We've played them round one quite a few times actually. 2017, I remember the comeback game. 2021, 2023, last season. I think it makes sense. Two old rivals. Fans get around this one as well. It's a good way to get 60 odd K at the MCG. I reckon we could even go bigger this year. Now it's our home game as well. I would love to see 70,000 out there. Get the year off to a good start. I think this is a pretty juicy matchup myself. Sydney round two, I personally love this. I know it's a bit scary to look at, but I love the idea of a big test really early into the year. It took us too long last season. I think it was round 4 or 5 when we first played our big team. I reckon Sydney are a big team in 2024. I think they can only get better from last year. I even think maybe top 4 contenders from me. Big call, but I love the idea of traveling over there early. We always have great matches, us and Sydney. These teams almost have a mini rivalry. I think this is very juicy. Round 3 at Marvel against the Saints is less juicy. Saturday Twilight. We play the Saints twice. I can't think of many teams I would want to play twice less than St Kilda. No offense to St Kilda. I like them as a club, but there is just not that much there between these two teams. No juice here. Well, I guess Jade Gresham against his old team. That's something at least. Port Adelaide Friday night gather round. I love this. I know people are annoyed that we don't play off against a non-SA team at a neutral venue, but these are the same people who don't bat an eyelid when we play 8 games in a row in Melbourne. I think it's fair. We have the advantage over these interstate teams anyway. Why not make it a big Friday night game? BZT against his old team. Dersma against his old team. I'm pumped for this. Should be a cracker. Should be better than last year's gather round game when we played against Melbourne in front of about 10,000 people. But we return to Marvel for another Friday night game the week after. Cheers AFL. We play the Bulldogs, a team who have had plenty of success against us recently. This is an important game for us. We could well go into this 2-2, needing this win to spark our season, especially because our next 2 games are very tough. Round 6, we are on the road again to Adelaide again, where I live. The AFL obviously knew I wanted to catch more games this year. Cheers, guys. Really tough one. Adelaide at home are crazy good. I'm worried that these 3 Friday night games end badly. 2 away games against good teams. 1 at Marvel against a side who love to play us. Many would argue we go 0 from 3 from those games. Would love for the club to prove us wrong though, and it's no easier from there. Round 7, Anzac Day, biggest home and away game of the year. It's just such a treat. We get home rights this time, which means we boost our attendance average thanks to 90k odd. This game we all look forward to the most every year. All fans in the AFL really. We are so lucky to be a part of it. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that the AFL scheduled Brisbane to play GWS on the same day. I don't know what they're thinking when they do this. It happens a lot. I remember they had Hawthorn playing down in Tassie one year in front of about 8 people. I think it's just silly. Round 8, we have a lovely 8 or 9 day break before another holiday. Perth this time. We play the Eagles at Optus on Saturday night. Playing the Eagles twice. Thank you, AFL. You know what? I think we have a good rivalry, but right now it just seems a no contest. It seems a bit of a boring game in my opinion. Would love to be proven wrong and it'd be an interesting one up there because it's a hostile crowd, especially against Essendon, where there just seems to be more in that matchup. GWS the week after, I think we used up the relevancy card with the early games. West Coast, GWS, North, not exactly headliners, although North, Melbourne, Mackay and Goldstein against their old teams, that could be pretty fun. It's definitely more juicy than the previous 2 games on face value, even though GWS are at least a competent side. Dreamtime in round 11, like Anzac Day, we're just so lucky to be a part of this game. One of the biggest games of the year, such a great spectacle every season. I can only see it getting bigger and better. The Suns the week after in Gold Coast, that is, it's definitely a game of footy. I love that you have it sandwiched between these 2 massive marquee games. We are likely to have 80,000 at Dreamtime at least. The same for the King's Birthday Eve against Carlton, which is quickly becoming one of our biggest games of the year against our arch rival. I want to get out to see that one. But Gold Coast in between, I think of all the games this year, that is the one I am least keen to see. Gold Coast in Gold Coast. You never want that fixture. Graveyard time slot as well. And then after that, we have the bye to round it out. Before the bye, we were on the road. 5 interstate games. After the bye, it's nothing but home. We have West Coast at Etihad. That has to be the game we are the biggest favourite going in for, I'd say. Geelong round 16. Now, this is tough. I know they are decreasing in quality as a side as they get older, but they always manage to get the better of us. Hawkins, he is still alive. While he is still alive, I can't rest easy. That's not a threat or anything. And then after that, the Pies and Melbourne, actually. You look at those 3 games. Those are big games for us. All at the G as well. I am willing to bet they will be around good times if we are performing all right as a team. I can see that narrative there as well, though. There is always that a patch in a season where pundits say a win is needed. Last year we had that stretch from gather round to when we played Brisbane at the Gabba when we needed 1 win to give us a leg up. Some will say the same here, I reckon. I can see it happening. Adelaide at Marvel, that's a pretty juicy game. I've just full-on abandoned that juicy thing I was talking about earlier in the video, but that's okay. St Kilda, as I said earlier, far from juicy. Really, we could have played Carlton or Hawthorn twice. Instead, it's the Saints. I'm not a big fan of that. Freo at the G. Why do we play Freo at the G but West Coast at Marvel? I don't understand that. I think we have more of a rivalry with West Coast. They have a huge fan base, one of the biggest in the leagues, way bigger than Fremantle's. Give them an MCG game. It's not like Freo aren't playing well. They're not earning the MCG performance through their the MCG time slot through their performance because they were poor last year. It just doesn't make sense to me to give Fremantle the MCG game and West Coast a game at Marvel. Gold Coast at Marvel, we play St Kilda and Gold Coast twice. I'm not unhappy with the draw, but that's pretty annoying as a fan, having to play those 2 teams twice. Sydney at Marvel, that's more fun. That's a team I'm down to play twice. Also, 10 games in Melbourne in a row up until that state, or 11 weeks, including the bye. The games at Marvel are always great. The crowd gets rowdy. The Swans always show up. And finally, to end the year, the Lions at the Gabba. Probably mark that one down as a loss. You just got to hope that we've already done what we needed to do to play finals before that game comes around. Otherwise, it's season over. There is no tougher ask than having to go up and play Brisbane at the Gabba. I think they won every game there in 2023. Alrighty, overall, let's rate our fixture difficulty. So if we look at the teams expected to be up and about, the top 4 from last year, we can have in there. Add in Sydney, Adelaide could be up there, GWS. So of those teams, we play the Pies twice. The only top 4 team we play twice is Collingwood from last year. We play Sydney and Crows twice. Brisbane once away. Port once away. Melbourne and Carlton once. And for the bottom teams, Eagles twice is good for us. Suns as well. You look at the teams we double up against, it's favourable. 1 top 4 team from last year, that's rare. Even Hawthorn have at least 2 top 4 teams from last year. Hawthorn have a harder draw than us, and they finished way down the bottom in the bottom 4. So I think the AFL niced us a bit. I don't know about you guys, but playing 1 top 4 team twice, that's pretty epic if you ask me. I'd like a bit more of a challenge, personally. But I can't complain. If I had to give it a meaningless grade, I would say a B+. Those first 10 or so rounds are tough, traveling around so much, but after that, we barely leave the state. I'm sure I'll get a comment asking what I'm most excited to see or head out to Melbourne for, so I'm going to name the 5 games I'm most looking forward to. These are the ones I'm marking down as ones that I can potentially get out to the state to go see. Anzac Day, Dreamtime, just elite marquee games that we are lucky enough to be involved in. King's Birthday Eve, that is becoming a big game, big rivalry, big game. The other 2 are a bit out of left field though. Gather Round against Port, I'm going to be there obviously. BZT and Dersma against their old teams. Friday Night Lights, that's a big game. I also love Gather Round. I thought it was incredible last year. The vibe in the city was electric. I don't know how many of you guys got out to see it, but it was so fun being around Adelaide. So keen for that again. And Sydney in round 2, huge challenge. I love our mini rivalry against Sydney. We have some great games. It seems it's hard to avoid a close encounter whenever we play, so playing them straight away pretty much, that's great. We get the chance at claiming a big scalp, as I said. They're going to be a big team in 2024. Alright, difficulty aside, is this a fixture or a draw to be happy with? The answer is, from me, a resounding yes. We don't have time slots past round 15, but up until that stage, we play in 3 marquee games. 2 of them we play with home honours, boosting our attendance. We play 3 Friday night games, which shows the AFL want us on the map for all to see. We play 3 Saturday night games, which is an underrated slot as well. That's fantastic. And after the bye, there are opportunities for us to get some spicy time slots as well. You would expect games against Collingwood, Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney and Brisbane will at least be considered for a Friday or a Saturday night if we are playing well. I'm thrilled with this fixture. It's not hard or harder than it should be. It's keeping us more relevant. I think it's great. I'm really excited. Let me know down below what you think. You might disagree. But that is that really, just a fixture recap more than anything. Threw it all together pretty quickly, as you can probably tell. Let me know what you think of the fixture. Are you happy? Are you sad? That is all though. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and go Bombers.